Hi. Do you
Here we
see me?
go.
Do you see me
Yeah.
and do you hear me?
Yes, I do.
Okay, thank you so much. This was actually, I have to be honest with you, this is my first time do anything live. So this is a very exciting day for me, but I have to say thank you so much for your patience, all these technical issues.
Well, my pleasure. My pleasure. First time for me too. So it's same
Okay,
situation. So we did it. We managed it.
that's true. So I'm very glad to have you here today. So for our viewers who might be joining later today for our very important and interesting discussion of the leadership in the age of AI, I'm going to give a little bit of introduction about you, Stefano. So Stefano Calvetti is a certified leadership coach with abundant experience in terms of leadership. He also hosts a podcast When Leaders Talk, and he's of course also the founder of Master Your C, which by the way I think is an awesome name. You run the same name, same YouTube channel under the same name, right? So can you probably say hi to our viewers because this will be published later on my YouTube channel too.
Of course. Well, Jane, thank you again for inviting me in this conversation. I'm very excited to be here, and it's always a pleasure for me to talk about leadership. And combining AI and leadership is really probably right now is the hottest topic you can think of, at least if you want to talk about leadership. Well, as you say, I'm a coach, and actually the name Master Your C, it comes from my background because I've been many years, more than 3 decades in the Navy. So that's why now the sea is like running through my veins, basically, and I
Mm,
use it as an inspiration.
that is awesome. So we are today here to talk about all, regarding leadership and under the changes, fast-paced changes era was the involvement of AI. So this technology is very different because it's paradigm shifting, right? Everybody agrees on that. And of course, I would assume many things, even including the skill sets required for leaders, might be changing, right? So how would you say that, leaders, so this might be discussed even further toward the end of our discussion, but do you see that skill sets required for leaders are even changing too?
Well, as you say, AI is permeating every aspect of our society. I don't think there is any sector in which AI cannot be used or couldn't be used if you want, of course. And then this includes leadership. um do you need, and I like your question, do you need different skill sets in the AI environment? I would say basically no. I mean, it's just like all the leaders, leaders, what I would define a leader is also someone is very open to innovation, to technology, and to new changes in life. So AI is something that leaders could embrace, could really welcome in their organization, in their team, and whatever they do in their life. What they have to learn probably is more like how to deal with AI, how to use AI effectively. And this is the AI as a tool, as a, to, for example, improve the processes, to um, I don't know, like reach their tasks, their goal in a faster and easier way. But then there is also the human side of it, right? Because being a leader is basically mainly, I would say, also dealing with other people and working with them and working for them. And therefore, you need your human skills that you already should have already developed to, I want to say, encourage your team to work with AI. I think this is where really we should pay attention right now. Also because AI brings a lot of challenges.
Oh, that is interesting. So, one other thing I was curious myself was actually about this augmentation of our capability. So, let's assume that you're a leader and you want to
Mhm.
augment your probably because leadership involves oftentimes taking care of people, as you mentioned, human skills and relations and collaborations, but also, making judgments, making good decisions, right? So, in terms of making better decisions, do you see this can be helpful to get help by AI? How would AI augment, how does it augment leaders' capability in terms of decision making?
I think the first functions you can think of, if you want to apply AI to leadership, is really helping the leader to make I don't want to say the right decision because that probably is, but the best decision that they can take. It's about, because AI will allow you to analyze an amount of information and data that probably earlier would have been much more difficult. And also AI allows you to kind of make predictions mainly in the short term. So you probably will be able to have more information, as I say, to take your decision. It's a more informed decision. But the trick is this, and something that I've every time I talk about it, I'm very firm, because I don't know if you ever heard of the solitude of leaders, right? It's
Mhm.
leaders are lonely at the top, or people are lonely at the top. Something that in my years in the Navy, they always say, "Oh, the commanding officer of ship is lonely." I always fought against that idea, because why should I feel lonely? But actually, when I became a commanding officer, I felt it. And when you feel it in the moment of taking decision, when I'm going with this is that AI will help you to make a decision, but you as a leader, you are the person who
Mhm.
will take the decision, who will carry the burden of the decision, and will take the responsibility of whatever you decided. So especially when it comes about ethical decisions, I don't know, like you need to restructure your organization and someone has been laid off. Choosing who to let go is a tough decision, and this cannot be really delegated to any tool. I think. I mean, this is my view. This is where you need to be almost 100% human. You might use AI to understand if, based on characteristics and parameters and other things, a person is better suited for a position than another. So it will help this kind of decision. But the decision is always yours.
Mm, that's a crucial point indeed. So at the end of the day, at the very end of the decision making process, it'll be you as a human who will be making that decision. And you should at least, um, I think, be sure that you are the person who are pretty good at, making good decisions or making good judgments. And I think, it'll be helpful to get help by AI in terms of making an better informed decision. So that's a very good point. And as I just had a very good question, then I forgot about it while
That's all
I
right.
was summarizing about what you told me. But um, so, do you think, like, if I am a leader who want
Mhm.
to start utilizing, or at least, consider utilizing AI for, for something, at least to a certain degree, is there
Yeah.
anything you want to recommend for us to, for us to do? Any tools or anything that can be a better help for your, better life as a leader?
I mean, of course, the type of AI you're going to use, it really depends on what type of team you're going to lead, what type of business you have, or whatever you want to use for the AI for. The one key suggestion that I will give is to be strategic.
Mm,
Implementing AI brings impacts. This will impact you as a leader, will impact your team, will impact your company, and possibly the customer stakeholders. And if you think about big AIs like ChatGPT, right? Potentially it's billions of people that can really be impacted by the AI. So you need to be strategic. Think ahead, like 2, 3 years ahead. You need to understand how the introduction of AI can occur smoothly within the organization. And there are things you can do to do that. For example, you can do it step by step, right? Not rush. Do not rush. Also, because AI is an investment, a financial investment, not just finance. So there's also time and training and a lot of things. So you want to invest carefully, right? So you want to do it slowly, carefully. You want to be sure that where you are investing will actually bring the return of investment, the ROIs that you wish for. And then the other thing is that you have to follow with the right training for the people that will use the AI, because they need to get equipped to with a tool, right? They're gonna change. And the other thing is really is about change. AI will change things. It's not like you're gonna use AI, nothing's gonna change. It's not true. If someone says so, it's either the wrong tool, the wrong AI they want to implement, or they are trying to be kind, if you want, with the people to not scare them off. But actually, is not true. It's false, absolutely false. AI will introduce changes. So the other thing is that during the implementation, you probably want your team to follow the implementation and to give you feedbacks to really understand how to better use AI. And in this sense, as a leader, as a human leader, as we said earlier, the thing is that you have to listen to these people, because those are the guys that will actually use the AI.
Exactly, exactly. So not only it'll change the leader's life, of course, it is changing the employee's life, everybody else that you're working with. And you, as a part of leader's role, I believe, would be, giving a certain degree of directions to your, fellows, right? So you can implement the strategic, you know, tactic or plan for your organization, for example.
But
So
you're right. I mean, you need to put boundaries, right? You need to walk within those boundaries when you implement AIs.
mm, so you are rather recommending or thinking that setting the boundaries, at least for the initial phase, would be helpful for both the leader and the people who are working within the organization.
I think so. I mean, you hear a lot about people who are scared by AI. They fear to lose their job. They fear to use their agency at work, right? They fear they will put aside, and their impact at work will be diminished by the introduction of artificial intelligence, and that's all legit. But the other thing is that, of course, AI is inevitable, so you're gonna use it at some point, and then you have to share with these people what is the AI for? Why? What is that you wanna facilitate by introducing AI in your organization? And once you have defined what the scope of AI and you stay within these kind of boundaries that you said, then the implementation is going to be easier, as you said, at least at the beginning. That's a very focus, and also will probably you try to avoid some ethical concerns,
Mhm.
because of course the morale will be impacted, or someone could, especially if take an organization like the one I'm coming from, the military, right? That is traditionally conservative. And many people, especially old guys, they use always the same method, the same techniques. Those are the people you need to work with the most. Those are the people you need to massage a little bit, right? To really help them digest the introduction, something that can be potentially revolutionary.
Mm, very good point. Very good point. So basically, I personally feel that the most important thing that leaders can prepare themselves is for the ethical issues and accountability, and also in terms of inclusivity and diversity. Because at the end of the day, you'll be the making the last decision. or final decision, and then that includes a lot of, you know, ethical judgment and in terms of your own perspective, in terms of how you see the world, how much you want to embrace more parts of the world, more part of the people and all that. It'll change how AI and all the other technologies indeed are to be applied into the workplace. So I'm not only saying it from an aspect that we should be, postponing the application of technology or anything, because we have to be competitive. We are evolving ever more as a human being thanks to this technology also. So that is also why I rather prefer to use this term called augmentation. So I think we also need to kind of change our mindset toward it altogether, so that it's easier for more people to be included in this wave of big change. So very interesting to hear what you had to say
And
about this. So thank you.
I like what you say. I think each of us, not just leaders, but really every each of us should ask themselves, what is the risk of not implementing AI in our work, in our organization? I'm not gonna say in our life, because this is quite different, and everyone lives their own lives as they want. But at work, if you are a late adopter, you might, just um, I don't want to say get lost, but the other people, your competitors, will have an incredible advantage. Also, because while you are thinking about implementing AI and you are very careful and probably too careful, they will learn, they will acquire more tools, and they will be better. It's AI is one of those technological revolution we already had in the past, like the steam, or when the cars came in, people were scared, was like, oh my god, a lot of people are gonna lose the job, and the tractors and the farmers were upset, and there's always some form of opposition and fear. And that's normal, that's human, that's understandable. But the human species has evolved because it's been able to adapt.
Mhm.
Adaptation is the key. And in this case, in a much smaller, I would say, universe, the one of the team, adaptation for you means stay in business, be
Mhm.
competitive, stay ahead of the others, or at least not behind.
So how would you recommend we start being adaptable to, so like basically how do you think in a nutshell leadership will look like differently from the past? I mean, it will still contain some traditional aspects, right? But still there will be a lot of other aspects that'll be changing. So how will leadership look like in the era
Um,
with AI?
well, the starting point is always the same, and it is self-awareness. So I think every each of us need to understand what are your thoughts about AI. So if you're a leader of your team, you have to ask a few questions. So first of all, is what do you know about AI, right? What is your knowledge about AI? How knowledgeable are you? And then the second is, what is your vision? What is your goal? What is that you wanna obtain from AI? And then another question you might ask is, um, how can I approach it? What is the best approach I can have
Mhm.
to AI? And many other things. I mean, so it's really becoming self-aware of you in relation to AI. And then once you have a pretty much clear idea of who you are compared to AI, then you can bring it in your team. And I want to go back to what I said earlier. I don't think that the you need special skills. It's not special skills that you need as a leader. It's really more openness, is really more flexibility and adaptability in so many ways, and understanding and listening, because people will report to you problems, doubts, worries, and everything else. And those are the people you need to listen if you want them on board. If you don't want organization to be rejected, and actually that what has been proved actually in some organization, if I'm not wrong, one was IKEA, where basically they introduced AI slowly, and the employees were, I don't want to say forced, but they had to use AI. And these, even if seems a little bit forceful, right? It seems like imposed. Actually, this helped a lot because they were able to understand AI. But there was also a continuous interaction between the employees and the leader to have the feedbacks, and understand actually how to use it better. So once again, I don't think you need anything special. I don't think you need a superhuman. I don't think you need to be a super leader. No, you need to be a good leader, the right leader for this moment.
Mm. Wow, that is very touching. I think it's a very, very important point we need to keep in mind. So, even though there will be a lot of changes, even more changes that are coming in the future, the good values that a good leader would have will kind of stick around. The requirements for a good leader, they won't change that much in that regard. It can be like traditionally it was thought that a good leader, as you mentioned, have has a good listening skill. They're more open-minded. They're trying to be, a better person for their, employees or fellows, whatever you might call them. So I think at the end of the day, this good morality that you are keeping in your heart as a good leader will be helpful in the age of AI too. So I think this is a very, very interesting topic, which you will be discussing even further during your event, right? There's an upcoming event, which I'm very interested in myself too. So,
Yeah, actually, on Thursday, on the 5th of October at noon, it's going to be, I think, very late in the night in Korea.
so I might not be attending this time, but still, there
Yeah,
might be people who are very, very interested in taking part. So,
yeah, I hope so, right? I mean, I really think this is an interesting topic. So, what I was saying is that on the 5th of October, noon, New York time, I'm in Washington, D.C., so New York time, there will be a live on Zoom. So the link to register on Eventbrite is published on LinkedIn. And the importance of this topic is, as we said earlier, this is the moment, this is the transformation. We're living in a transformational moment. We are in between, and we either take charge of our lives and our work and try to really get the best out of it, or we wait and we don't know where we'll be. And that's fundamental. I want to add something to what you said earlier, about the skills. um, AI will help you to be, I don't want to say a better leader, but to be, to work better a lot, right? It's not just a decision making example that we did. I saw there is a beautiful podcast. I don't know if you know Lex Friedman. He has a beautiful podcast, and the last episode is an interview with Mark Zuckerberg. They had this conversation over virtual reality. Oh, but man, they was like they were there. They were in the same room. It was perfect. And virtual reality is not AI, but if you think about how can you apply artificial intelligence in a virtual world, in a virtual way. Oh my god, there are so many potentials, so many things you can do as a leader. You will be so much more present if you want without traveling that
Mm.
far, right? You might have tool that translate what you're saying from whatever your language is to any other language on the spot. You can speak, you're Korean, I might speak Italian. I'm Italian. I might speak Italian, and you will listen Korean, and without losing a word of what I'm saying. How beautiful is this? How exciting is this, right? So there are pros and cons. I'm very excited now for it, but there are cons too. I know there are a lot of things you need to take care of. But that's the future of leadership. That's how I see it. That's the beauty of it. And as I said, you can ignore it and try to stay a traditional in a traditional organization, or just embrace it and enjoy and be um, more successful at it.
Exactly. Yes. I'm very much looking forward to, seeing those changes myself too. So, like, imagine and envision the future and how will it make your life easier, better, like kind of different. And I am very curious to see and experience that future, that version of the future myself. So, thank you again. And for my last question, I wanted to again ask. That was actually all for my question list, because my last question actually was about your event, your upcoming event. So many people will, know and participate in the event. I think the more we discuss about it, the better we get to understand about the technology and about each other and how we're evolving together in this ever-changing era. So thank you so much again for joining. Would there be anything left from your side to be sharing with us? Probably to my viewers on YouTube too. So it's a channel about AI future and our career growth. So probably one or two tips about career success, and then we can, close this live
Oh, that's a tough question. Uh,
event.
well, AI is here to stay. I mean, that's inevitable. It's really something that it's here and will change our lives. I totally understand that people were scared. I was talking to a friend of mine recently, and he was like, "I'm scared by it. I'm scared by it because I don't know. It's like we will lose the human connection. We will
Mm,
we will be less human." I don't agree. I love the work you're doing because you're giving the opportunity in a very easy way to explore AI and to allow people to access to some knowledge in AI to make it less scary, if you want. And that's an important job. That's an important task. So I really appreciate what you're doing. Um, but as I said earlier, it's not just for leaders. For every each of us, take charge of your life. Right? Take charge, even if it seems difficult, complex sometimes. You can take charge of your life. And in this moment of transition, this special moment we are living, there are so many opportunities as a leader, as a person, as whatever you want to think of. Just be open in a way to explore, to get out of your comfort zone, this damn comfort zone that is always nothing in the
mm.
culture really. Oh, the comfort zone, it's nice, but if you want to grow, you need to get out of your comfort zone. Here we go.
Exactly. That was awesome. Have some fun exploring, right? So
Right.
let's have some fun exploring this huge change all together. And again, I want to show you my absolute most appreciation for being part of this interview series. So thank you so much again. I wish you all the best always.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye.